So if you're in the cannabis industry, you see this document basically every day, the Certificate of Analysis, or COA. And if you're like most people, you probably just file it away and forget about it. But what if that boring-looking compliance form is actually one of the most powerful strategic weapons you have? Well, today, we're going to show you exactly how to unlock it.
I mean, let's be real. For most of us, this is what a COA feels like, right? It's just another piece of paper to deal with, another box you have to check. It's dense, it's technical, and it feels like this huge bureaucratic chore you have to get through just to stay legal. It's something to file, not something to actually use.
But what if that's all wrong? What if that document is actually the key to unlocking your brand's full potential? What if it's not just some form, but a powerful secret weapon that can level up every single part of your business, all the way from cultivation to the sales counter?
All right, so let's dive right in. First things first, we need to totally redefine the COA. We're going to break down what's really inside this thing and shift our thinking from seeing it as a headache to understanding it as the strategic weapon it truly is. So, what exactly is a COA? Well, at its core, it's a lab report. It verifies a product's potency, its purity, and its safety. But honestly, the best way to think about it is as the product's unique scientific fingerprint. It's traceable, it's undeniable, and you absolutely have to have it for any legal sale. And that fingerprint gives you 4 guarantees that are completely non-negotiable. First up, consumer safety. It screens for any nasty contaminants. Second, it confirms label accuracy, so you know what's on the package is actually in the package. Third, it keeps you compliant. And finally, it proves your business has integrity, that you're doing things the right way. Okay, this is super important. You have to know that not all lab tests are the same. You've got the full panel, which is like the mandatory final exam for your product before it can be legally sold. But then you've got the QA test, which is more of an internal tool for R&D. Here's a pro tip. The smartest operators use QA tests to check out their strains and spot problems before they shell out the big bucks for that expensive full panel. Okay, so now we know what a COA is. The next step is learning how to actually read it. In this section, we're going to decode the key numbers and, even better, learn how to turn all that raw data into a really powerful product story. Now, before you even glance at the potency numbers, you need to lock in on these fields right here. These are your anchor. This is all about traceability. Logging the batch and biotrack IDs means you are always ready for an audit or, worst case scenario, a recall. Getting this part right is absolutely non-negotiable. And here it is, the number that pretty much everyone looks for first, total THC. It's the headline, right? It's the main event for a lot of consumers, and while it's definitely important, it is only the beginning of the story. Because the real story, well, that's told by the terpenes. This number is the true driver of a strain's aroma, its flavor, and all those nuanced effects. Here's a great little rule of thumb from the pros. If you see anything over 1.5% total terpenes, you're probably looking at a high-quality, really flavorful, and aromatic product. And this is where we get to translate that science into a real-world experience. As you can see from this chart, different terpenes are often linked to certain effects. Myrcene, for example, usually points to a more calming, sedating experience. Limonene, on the other hand, is generally more uplifting. This is how you go from some abstract numbers on a lab report to helping a customer find the exact effect they're looking for. So now that we can read the map, how do we use it? A COA isn't just for some lab tech or a compliance manager. It is a powerful tool for every single team in your entire operation. Let's start right at the source, with the cultivation and production teams. For them, the COA is way more than just a report. It's basically a report card on their last harvest. The best growers out there are using this data to compare cannabinoid and terpene expression from one harvest to the next. It helps them pinpoint which genetics are the consistent winners, and it helps them make data-driven decisions on what to clone. This is exactly how you find your keeper phenos. Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about your marketing and sales teams. For them, the COA isn't just data. It is the absolute foundation of credibility and authentic storytelling. This is how you stop selling with hype and start selling with science. COAs give you the real data you need to write compelling, accurate product descriptions based on the dominant terpenes and what they do. And for your sales team, walking into a dispensary with this kind of data builds instant trust and, you guessed it, closes deals way faster. And this might just be the most impactful application of all.
Let's talk about the real front line of the industry, the bud tenders and the retail staff.
A COA can transform a bud tender from a salesperson into a trusted guide. They can confidently match a customer to the perfect product because they understand its chemical fingerprint. They can teach customers to shop by the effect they want, not just by THC percentage. And that level of expertise, it builds incredible customer trust and loyalty.
Okay, so we know this data is incredibly valuable, but it's totally useless if it's just locked away in some PDF on a forgotten hard drive. So the final piece of this puzzle is building a system to unlock it, to turn all this raw data into real dollars. And it really just comes down to a simple 4-step workflow. First, digitize everything. Get it all into a central shared location. Second, extract the key data points. Automation tools can make this part a breeze. Third, centralize all that data into a master sheet. And finally, visualize it. Create dashboards to track trends and share those insights with your whole team. Look, if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. Stop thinking of the COA as just some box you have to check. Start seeing it for what it really is, a strategic map. It's a map that can guide your cultivation, your marketing, your sales, and your customer relationships. So, I'll leave you with this question to take back to your team. Is your COA data just sitting in a file somewhere, or is it actively driving your business forward? Because as we've just seen, it absolutely can be, and it absolutely should be. Thanks for watching.